Now, people of God, we have something very special for you. As we had the greeting from Carolyn this morning, we have a message to you brought today by our regional minister, Reverend Rick Spleth. I thank you both, Carolyn and Rick, for providing for the service again today. And by the way, the scripture will be done a little bit differently because Rick is actually reading the scripture himself, so I'm just going to let him do that. People of God, let us turn together to our next scripture reading and our message for today.
Listen with me to a word of scripture from the book of Genesis. But God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and all the domestic animals that were with him on the ark. And God made a wind blow over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the heavens were closed. The rain from the heavens were restrained. And the waters gradually receded from the earth. At the end of 150 days, the waters had abated. And in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The tale of Noah and the ark is a familiar one to all of us. Even little children can tell you the story, and they can draw a picture of Noah's grand boat, a veritable zoo upon the waters, with 2 giraffes with their long necks sticking out of an upper portal. I've been thinking about those ancient mariners in recent days because it occurs to me that they were the first family to go through what all of us have been going through, a shelter-in-place quarantine. And it occurs to me that there is wisdom in the story of Noah and the ark that may be worth pondering while we are on a similar journey. There are 2 things that I think we can learn from the experience of Noah and his family. One is, do not rush your return. And the other is, do not hope to return to normal. Those are important lessons. Let us take them one at a time. If you ask those same little children how long Noah and his family were on the ark, they will likely respond 40 days and 40 nights. That is a good response, but it is not even close to their duration. The scripture says that it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. That is a long time. By then, all the land was covered with water. The text says that 150 days after that, the boat came to rest on a mountain, Ararat by name. And still they were not done. 40 days after that, Noah felt compelled enough and comfortable enough to open a window and send out various birds as aerial scouts. That process took another 3 weeks before it was evident that it was safe to disembark. Altogether, it was a 7.5-month voyage. Wow. I suspect on the front end of that journey, they had no idea how long this would last. How could they? It was unprecedented in their lifetime. So, too, our sheltering in our homes due to the coronavirus. Who could have imagined back in early March that we would be living as we are today? You know, 40 days and 40 nights of rain would be hard to take. But I suspect that the hardest part may have been after the rain, when the skies turned blue and they were itching to get off the boat. Can't you imagine Noah's sons coming up to him and pestering him? Is it time? And Noah shaking his head, no, not yet. Or Mrs. Noah giving him that look that says, really? And Noah with a shake of the head saying, no. Did you know that Noah is a direct ancestor of Dr. Fauci? It is true. Not everyone knows that. Noah wisely waited and compelled his family to do so until it was safe. And we should do the same. It is hard, particularly when there are blue skies and a yearning within all of us to come back and be together. But you have to let the thing that caused the quarantine in the first place subside. In Noah's case, water, lots and lots of water. And in our case, a virus that has now encompassed the whole world. This is already stretched out longer than any of us could have predicted, and it could go a long time more, maybe 7.5 months or even a year. We should not rush it. We will get back together again someday. We will hug and laugh and sing and share coffee and donuts and casseroles and the sacred elements of the Lord's table. We really will, but it's going to be a while. So we should be patient until the time is right and safe for all. So do not rush your return. When you hear Dr. Fauci say, be cautious, do not rush this, think of Noah. The second lesson from this ancient tale is even more important, I think, and that is, do not hope for things to return to normal. My hope is that the world we re-enter is not the same as the one we left behind as we began to sequester, because that world, our world, was deeply fractured and needed a great deal of work. There's a sad part of the Noah story that we do not tend to dwell on. Once Noah and his family got off the ark, some trouble ensued. For one thing, Noah set about right away planting a vineyard and making some wine, and he got drunk and passed out. On one occasion that we know about, some shouting and cursing happened between Noah and his sons. There were some embarrassing situations that set in motion future discord that would haunt Noah's descendants for generations, even to today. Oh no. We do not know if Noah had a drinking problem before and it re-emerged, or if it developed because of his being cooped up too long. We do not know. But it was real, and it posed a problem for him and his family. It strained and broke relationships. Suddenly we are back to the same broken and fractured society that had grieved the heart of God in the first place. This is so sad. This grand opportunity to begin again, to start over under the banner of a rainbow filling the sky, was lost. And when we hear Noah say with anger, "Cursed be Canaan, lowest of slaves shall he be to his brothers," we have to weep, because we know that sets in motion racial division and brokenness that divide us today. So no, we do not want things to return to normal on the backside of this quarantine, because the way things have been, the way things are, is not good. The streets of our cities are right now filled with protesters expressing their despair at the senseless death of George Floyd. He lost his life by the hand of some police officers who were sworn to protect him, but also by a society that labeled him and treated him, because of his race, as less valuable than others. No wonder so many feel rage. We have a lot of work to do to make things right, to repair this breach, and it must begin among those of us with privilege and power. There are some beginning signs that bring hope. Sheriff Chris Swanson in Flint, Michigan, who is white, asked protesters in his city how he could help them, and they said, "Walk with us." And so he put down his baton, he took off his helmet and did. He had his officers do the same. It transformed the protest into a parade. And as a result, there was no damage to property in Flint. No one was arrested and no one got hurt. Sheriff Swanson says that is the way it should be. And he is calling on his counterparts all across the nation to model his action, to lay down their swords and walk with those in their streets. Or consider Raul Islam, who owns an Indian restaurant in Minneapolis. When unrest in that city first developed in the days after the death of George Floyd, Raul converted his restaurant to a makeshift field hospital, giving respite to protesters who had inhaled too much tear gas or had been injured by rubber bullets. Eventually, though, his restaurant, named after a peacemaker, Gandhi, was consumed by fire. His daughter, Hafsa, said she was angry until she heard her father speaking to a friend on the phone. "Let my building burn," he said. "Justice needs to be served. We can rebuild a building, but we cannot rebuild a human. The community is still here, and we can work together to rebuild." Wow. If a Michigan sheriff and a Muslim restaurant owner can demonstrate such love and compassion and commitment to community, what might we who follow Jesus do? Dismantling the structures of racism and privilege and inequity in our society is long, hard work, but now is the time for us to do it, coming out of a quarantine. Do not hope to return to normal. As people of faith, let us lead the way to create a world where racial divisions and prejudice that stain our society can give way to life that is fair and just for all, and where everyone can breathe. May it be so.